started talking to the guy named I think his wrestling name was Sage.
Sage.
And
Oh
yeah,
man, Razor Sharp. We have a similar origin story here.
all right, yeah, Sage. And I just started talking to him, and he basically showed me the ropes and got me involved, and I was hooked.
So, Sage is kind of how I got involved as well. Um, his cousin was in my ninth grade algebra class and was telling me about, his cousin was a wrestler named Sage. He wrestled for this guy, JT Lightning, and um, JT Lightning would run his ring out to people. So through that guy, through Sage, I got JT Lightning's phone number and I called him when I was 15 years old. Gave him very little details. And I said, "Hey, how can I rent your ring?" So Sage is kind of a weird connection there.
So yeah, he's a good guy. Like I said, he showed me the ropes. He was on a couple of the early days of UXWA. We call that the darkened days.
His name's Matt, right? His real name is Matt.
Yep.
Yeah. So so that's kind of funny because Sage has like popped in and out from like a distance. I've heard, he's tried to get wrestling companies going again, and I know he was. I don't know if he still is. He was really involved with the Tenable Security Company, and
Hmm.
that guy, the guy that owns that, used to promote shows. I think he's like married to his daughter or was or something like that. So, but yeah, Sage was a JT Lightning student, and him and J Rock and this guy named 8 Pac broke away from Cleveland All Pro, and they started this company, the North Coast Wrestling Alliance, which would run competition in Cleveland to Cleveland All Pro. It did not last very long.
Hmm.
Um, but during this time, like 99, 2000, you could find an indie show in Cleveland probably and every single weekend between Cleveland All Pro, NCWA, and then a random thing popping up here and there. But that's pretty interesting. Did you meet him at one of those shows? Because I know that they did a couple at the Euclid Sports Plant, and that's kind of in your neck of the woods, right?
Yeah. That's I met him. I actually met him out here. At the old Knights of Columbus off of Broadview Road.
Oh yeah, I'll never forget that they advertised they were gonna have a cage match, and there was no cage. I was I was there. I
Yeah,
can't remember a lot of things, but I remember that for some reason.
yeah. I met him there, and then ever since like there, I know they were. He did a couple other shows in the west side of Cleveland, and then like I said, yeah, they did a few shows at the Sportsplex.
Yeah, they did a bunch of shows, but it never really caught on. And eventually, I think they made up with JT or something. But so does he kind of start like training you a little bit on the down low or what?
Yeah, he trained. Yeah, he just trained me on the down low. I think it was actually yeah, I don't know if it was his house or G Rock's house. They had a ring in. They had a ring in the driveway, and he said,
They had a ring. They had a ring in the backyard. Man,
yeah,
this is so weird. When I was 15 or 16, I don't know how, but like I was at somebody's house in Cleveland, maybe a girl's house or something, and there was just a wrestling ring in a driveway,
yeah,
and it was it was J Rock training people in the driveway,
yeah.
and he was like 19 years old or something like that, and there was a like J Rock didn't really like me at the time, so he was very upset that I could see that he was training in in a ring in a backyard.
Yeah. I might have been the same house. Like I said, it was right in front of the garage.
Yeah, it was somewhere on the west side of Cleveland. I know that, like
Yeah.
Cleveland proper. So that's pretty interesting. And from there, I take it, like I know that promotion fell apart, not that long after. Do you kind of fall out of it there because of that?
Um. Yeah, kind of. And then then I was doing. I would go to like CWA shows and stuff like that, and be in a couple battle royals there, and then I fell out of it for a while. I was just working, and then and then my parents got real sick and stuff, so I stopped everything. I took care of them, and then I started to get back into it, and then and then I had my mom had a heart attack, and I believe you and Biggins and a couple of AIW guys helped me out with the
Yeah,
memorial, not the memorial show,
that's
the benefit.
that's the first time I ever remember meeting you was wrestling on this heart attack benefit show for your mom. I
Yep.
don't know. I don't know how we found out about it, or maybe you just sent messages out to people or something. I'm not sure, but I know that I was there. Biggins was there. There were a couple other people there, and that is where the infamous altercation between me and the Duke took place. Was at that event in which we almost came to blows at the heart attack benefit because at that time that's when the Duke was on the other side of things, and I believe that it was they had just pretty much run their last show the day before that, and I think the Duke rented you his ring or something, and it turns out that ring never left that day, and they just left it there, and it stayed there for years. But that's the first time I remember meeting you. Was that your first attempt at promoting your own show?
Yeah, that was the first time we were doing. It was funny. This brings us together again. I actually did some stuff with the Raptor with
Oh, I know the Raptor.
with his promotion, and we were doing some stuff. So that was on me and you probably know Chaos. That was me and Chaos's first attempt of doing a show, and I think we had an alright turnout and everything.
So how did you get hooked up with all these people? Just like through the internet?
Just through the internet, and then I started going to shows, and I started just be telling them my story, and I would get in there, and then I started do some shows with Raptor and all that.
Was that out in Lodi, Ohio, or something like that? Lodi?
Yeah, no, Worcester.
Worcester. Okay, yeah. That's like kind of the same area, but so what year is this? This is probably like 2006, 7.
Yeah, around there, around 2006, around 2006, 2007. We went there, and then he like retired, and then he gave it to the Icy Cool, and Icy Cool tried to run it, and then he came back, and then
Was
I'm
that
like,
freak show wrestling? Was that what it was called?
yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that. The Raptor, for those who don't know, was if you go way back on the AIW podcast where we talked about a guy that said he can build us an Inferno match for like $15. That's the Raptor out of PVC pipe and a couple of propane tanks. But a legendary, just kind of like untrained backyard sort of guy, but like did a zillion shows. Painted his face, howled at the moon, like thinks he's a real life werewolf, ate cactus, all kinds of just really weird shit. I remember going out to this guy's house when I was like 17 years old in Lodi, Ohio, and he was like, building rings for people, and he was going to build us a ring, but all these guys on the show that came along with them, and they didn't decide who won beforehand. They would just decide who was doing better as the match went on, and that's how they decided who won.
Yeah, it was crazy times back then.
Yeah, no, for sure. So when do you decide that you're gonna go full on into promoting?
Well, we try, like I tell people, like the darken areas. Me and Chaos, we did some shows out on the east side in the East Lake. We tried out there, and then
What was that, UXWA, or was it something else?
It was like we formed it. It was like UWA or something like that. We formed it with a couple guys from PA, and they flaked out, and then we switched it to UXWA later on, and then my parents got sick and they passed away, so I stopped everything. And then once I moved out to the west side, because I grew up on the east side, and when I moved out to the west side, I was like, and I found the Dr. Martin Lutheran Church. I was like, hey, Chaos, you want to try it again? And he was all for it, and we started doing it again.
What year was that?
That was 2010, I think 2010, 2011.
Okay. So you lived on the west side for a little bit, because I know you don't now, right?
No, yeah, no, I still do. I live in Old Brooklyn.
Oh, do you? I thought you were a east side guy for some reason.
No, no, I used to. I grew up in Mayfield Heights.
Okay. So like how does it all come together though? Obviously you got to figure out how to get a ring and all that. Does Sage help you with that, or do you just start kind of feeling people out?
Yeah, Sage and Lamont Williams, they helped us out because Lamont had the ring. So sometimes we would do like double shows. We would do like Saturday, he would do Sunday. So we did that for a while, and then
At the same venue?
yeah, the same venue. And then when we moved out here, I knew a couple people that had a ring before you guys came along, and so we rented their ring, and had a couple falling out with people that weren't trustworthy, and then that's when you guys came along.
So let me ask you this, because, and this is kind of like, I don't take this in like a disrespectful way, but, there's kind of like this lower tier to AIW, and I feel like, a lot of people don't like us on that tier or don't want to ask us for help on that tier. I feel like it's almost like, an us, like a them against us sort of thing. Would you agree with that mentality?
Oh
Because there's not like there's a lot of these shows that we weren't even aware that were going on.
no, John, no doubt. It's like we were doing some stuff, and we were doing pretty good shows. I mean, we had the crowds, like nothing like AIW, but we were pulling in like 150 and more, and then all of a sudden it's just like we're doing all these shows, and we're like, where's the money? We're
Right.
like, where's the money? So we figured out, people that we trusted were stealing from us, and then that's when we came. That's when we came to you and Biggins and said, hey, we
Now,
want you.
how did we get hooked up? Because I'm like, I can't really remember officially how it all came together.
We
For the,
we started renting your ring, and then I believe it was after our first.
did you guys come to an AIW show or something and then talk to us about renting the ring? Is that how it worked? I
I think
can't
so.
remember.
We came and we asked you, hey, and you were fine with it, and then you guys came, and then I think it was after our second anniversary show. Like we did really good, but we just broke even, and we were just wondering why. And then that's when we found out somebody was stealing from us, and then that's when we were like, hey guys, can you guys help us in some sort of way, because we wanted to become legit. We didn't want to
Yeah.
become still a backyard federation. We wanted to become legit, and that's why me and KS came to you and Biggins.
Yeah, and I don't even think people in Cleveland even know that this circuit even really exists, and like there's stuff that I even find out about today, and like I'm so locked into the scene, and you don't even know these shows are going on, and they happen in like their own kind of bubble with no actual real wrestlers or anything like that. Um, and so it was kind of eye opening to us, and we definitely had a rule that we would not rent a ring out um, within the Cleveland, Northeast Ohio city limits. Like the closest to that point that we would rent a ring out would be to MCW in Elyria or the Lorain area, which is Lorain County. So we wouldn't rent a ring out to anybody. It's just because we went through a lot of years throughout Cleveland to where it was hard to draw, and to where that 150, 200 was a top attending show in the area, throughout the middle, 2000, like the 2010s, and those years. So we were very hesitant, but I do remember that you guys talked to us, and you had told us what you were paying, uh and we thought it was pretty crazy, a pretty crazy price from what I remember for the type of ring. And I think maybe a ring, for some reason I want to say like maybe a ring canceled on you like the day before or something. um and we kind of bailed you out, but uh you told us some of the economics, and it just didn't make any sense to us, as to why you weren't making any money. And we're looking around, and there are half trained guys on the show, and people are paying to get in, so you would think that that is probably a gigantic profit for the people putting it on, but that wasn't the case, as you explained to us. So um, at that time we kind of took over the helm of, became like the directors of operations or whatever at that point. And we worked with you on budgeting and getting you real legitimate workers out of our school for a bargain price, sometimes nothing, sometimes very cheap. And we kind of came up with an all-inclusive package for you to kind of at least have something to work towards, and gain that legitimacy, that because you were very you had, I remember we had a meeting at a BW3, and you were very adamant about becoming legit and kind of wanting to step it up from this tier of obscurity.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like I said, I remember that it was a really good meeting. And like I said, it's just like I know you get sick of me saying it, but I thank you for doing this for us and doing it for me now and stuff like that, because it was funny because I think you said it on your podcast of really bad wrestling feds, and you mentioned you're like USWA was horrible, and people are like, hey, John's ripping on you, and I'm like, no, he's not. We were horrible. We were horrible back in the day.
Yeah, and I think people take legitimate feedback and criticism the wrong way sometimes, and it wasn't good, and you were aware of that. You know what I mean? And it was never meant to be any offense to you, and nobody knew that we had this conversation to where you expressed that you wanted to achieve some legitimacy. And unfortunately, that meant a lot of the illegitimate people were not going to be able to take you for a ride on money anymore, and get money, get paid money when they, weren't even trained wrestlers and didn't really do anything to earn that money. And we kind of explained that to you. We said, hey, if you're going to book these guys that aren't trained and awful, they should at least be bringing in a crowd. And they weren't. They were just coming to you asking for money for their performance, and nobody was coming to see them either. And it was making the show bad, and it was costing you money. So you didn't have any footage that you could be proud of, and you're paying some guy that was undeserving. And you kind of brought us in to be the bad cops on that, because a lot of these guys were people you were friendly with, and I'm sure that was kind of a difficult thing for you when you were away from us.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, I admit I'm a nice guy. My mom was always like that. I'm a friendly guy. But once when you start stealing from me and it's blatant, you're out to hurt me, then changes has to happen. And the fact that, like, when it happened, everybody was coming at us like, you guys are making the big mistake. They're just gonna, like, they're gonna use you. They're gonna, like, take you down and this and that and that and this. And I'm like, really? I'm like, they've been nothing but open arms to us.
Yeah, I mean, that was never our intention. I mean, like, if and I don't know where we got that reputation, because 9 times out of 10 we just ignore everything else in Cleveland. So we don't take anybody down; we just ignore them. And
Oh,
I guess in a sense, ignoring is what takes them down. But we have to focus on our business, and that's all we were ever really concerned about was, I don't care how bad yours is. We just want to make ours better, and that was always kind of our mentality. And we learned our lesson getting sucked into this, like, these Cleveland wrestling wars in 2007, and it was very detrimental to the forward progress of the business. So it's something that we just never really got into again. And you know, I think maybe our reputation precedes itself because we did we did win that wrestling war or whatever, but for the most part, we just didn't acknowledge anybody. And if people shit talked to us, we just ignored it because we know that our product, it was top tier in the area, and it was without question. So um, there was just something about you and the way you asked and the way you came to us and just said like, hey, oh, I want to do something legitimate. And at that time we had, the AIW school was fairly new, and we needed a place for people to wrestle as well when they couldn't necessarily get on every AIW show. So we saw it as a mutually beneficial arrangement, and I think it has been ever since.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, it just, a lot of people are like, yeah, people come after me, they're like, well, this is not your Fed anymore. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it is. I mean, I tell everybody, I'm like, hey, if we're AIW's NXT, then so be it. I love our shows. I love the wrestling weekends we do. You do Fridays, we do Saturdays. I think that's awesome what we do.
Yeah, and and it's only until the pandemic. Obviously, it was only going to continue and get bigger as things progressed and evolved. And that's what's unfortunate is kind of the stop that we hit. But I feel like UXWA was finally starting to achieve, some of that legitimate fandom. And, you saw a lot of the regular AIW fans coming to UXWA on the following day. And, you were finding your niche within the industry in the area. And, I think that's kind of an unfortunate thing that people don't realize is, how long of a road that you've been at it on UXWA, and you were doing it the wrong way just because you didn't really know how to do it any other way. And, in these last two-ish or so years, 3 years, you've really started to, almost rebuild everything. And, it's unfortunate. How does that make you feel?
No, you hit it. You hit it on the head. It just, we started to, I tell everybody, I look forward to like when your dates come out and everybody's like, well, do you think that's beneficial? Do you think people would get tired of wrestling? I was like, I don't know, but I was like, I know it works because I go to your guys' show. You let me hand out flyers. People come at the shows, like at the end of the show, hey Razor, do you have any tickets for tomorrow's show? And I'm like, yeah. And then I start selling tickets for UXWA at the end of your show and everything, or at the after party and everything. So yeah, I mean it does suck, this pandemic, and but like I said, I'm just my mind's clicking about how we're gonna come back better, better and stronger and everything.
Yeah. So, like I said, I want to keep this a little brief, and we'll be able to do this again. It was possibly going to be longer, but we had some technical difficulties when we were trying to get this going all night tonight. But you know, so I know that if you're on Patreon, you've probably seen it, but for those people out there that don't know, when you were told that you were in the gauntlet for the gold, that was a legitimate reaction that was videotaped, correct?
Yeah, yeah, I didn't know, and like I said, yeah, I'm a very emotional person, and yeah, that was I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you, Dom, Dan, everybody. That I was legit shocked. I never thought I would. I never thought I would be on an AIW show.
And what did it feel like when you read it and when it actually happened?
When I read it, I still couldn't believe it. And I think I told you. You asked me if I was ready when I was standing up there, and I was like, John, what if nobody cheers? What if I walk out there and there's silence? And you were like, that's not going to happen. And when I walked out there, I was shocked. I was like, no way.
And I think that goes to the AIW UXWA relationship. A lot of you became familiar to a lot of our fans through, being around, like you said, going to the after parties, selling tickets to some of them here and there, and them kind of dabbling in UXWA. Um, and we've talked about you on the podcast a lot, and um, I think that, I've done a lot of things that I feel are, special for whatever reason, or like sentimental. And, like that was one thing that I did that, I really felt good about doing that for you, because you are a genuine nice guy. And you're very self-aware where your wrestling skills are at when it compares to a lot of the guys on the show. Uh, but that was a special moment. And I feel like if you're never in AIW again, you're still always going to remember that.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean, I would always remember that, and I would, if I'm never on any of them again, you know that I will still come and promote and hand out flyers for you and everything, because like I said, John, I can't thank you guys enough for helping me USWA and doing what you guys do. You guys are, like I said, when people tell me like, stories about like how mean you are or this, that, I was like, I don't see it, because you guys are nothing but open arms. Like, I can't believe how many people that I consider friends that I met through AIW.
Yeah, and like I said, I really don't know where that reputation comes from for AIW. And I think it's kind of like I don't know, like uh, it, it, just like being kind of like the top thing in the Cleveland area. I guess everyone just wants to gun for you in some sort of way and kind of tear you down. But like there's been a lot of people that have like they take it personally if you don't book them. And that has nothing to do with who I am as a person. Like John Thorne is a different person than AIW Booker. You know what I mean? But people can't distinguish that, and I'm sure you felt that with you know Jeff Sharpe and Razor Sharpe, the UXWA promoter. I'm sure you got a lot of that once you decided to make the change.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not like I would have people come up and tell me like, well, it's your show. Why can't you get me out? I'm like, guys, you have to go through Dom. You have to go through John. Well, they don't like me. There's nothing I can do. But you're the owner. There's still nothing I can do. They booked the show.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of that. People take it so personally, and like it's pretty obvious. Like this is set up for a developmental system, somewhat for AIW to get students high, like showcase matches. And we've brought in people from different states that aren't AIW students that we wanted to try out for AIW and look at UXWA. And guys that have traveled in for AIW and don't end up getting on AIW will sometimes get booked for UXWA the next day, just so we can see them in person and see how the crowd reacts to them. I mean, it's a very beneficial arrangement. And unfortunately, if you are one of those Cleveland wrestlers that isn't that great, it wasn't beneficial for you. But that goes to you wanting legitimacy and acceptance and kind of getting out of that that stigma of the kind of underground, super underground, like untrained shows.
Yeah, yeah. I wanted to be legit, and that's why I came. And I tell people, I'm like, guys, if you really want to become legit, go to their school. They have the best school, and then they're like, oh no, well this guy will train me for free. Well,
yeah, and I mean, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, and I'm like, where's this guy from? And they're like, if you guys want legitimacy, go see AIW school. Look how many people as came through AIW and where they are now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just crazy. And we could probably talk for an hour about this, but I'll just end it real quick with a couple of quick questions. What is Razor Sharpe's favorite match ever that you've ever had?
Um, I would say I think it was at our first anniversary show when I faced Chaos. It was the hardcore title versus my career, and Shark Boy came out and saved me.
Oh,
And
that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's pretty cool.
that was one of the favorites.
And who are some of your favorite wrestlers in UXWA now? Like, who do you look forward to either working with or seeing on your show?
Oh, I have to say, like I love right now. I love working with Dr. Dan. He's fun to work with. I Kelvin Tankman, he's really good. Everybody that tells me, and I like him too. I forgot his name though. The Amish guy.
Oh, Levi Everett.
Yeah, Levi Everett. Yeah, he's hilarious, and I like the I think they're from Indiana. I think I like the Indiana crew. They're
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah, and you've done some fun things. You've been a lovable babyface. You've been a dastardly heel in UXWA. Um, what do you think? What do you think the future holds right now? How long you planning on doing this? Everyone always says like you can't do wrestling forever, but where's Razor Sharp's head at?
Well, my head's a lot better. My I know everybody knows I battle depression. My depression's at all time low. I've been actually I got a couple trainers, so I've been working with them. I dropped about 30 pounds right now, and when wrestling's coming back, it's going to be for a while. I want to hit. I had the 5-year anniversary with UXWA. Maybe let's see if we can go to 10 and see where we're at.
And I think that's a good goal. And I just want to say congratulations. That's awesome on the 30-pound weight loss. That's not an easy thing, but I see you out there on Facebook, pulling the weights up the road and doing all kinds of stuff. That's awesome. I wish I could get motivated like that.
It's just like I just woke up one day and I'm like, I'm just tired of hurting. On my knees and and I tell people I'm like I still I know I've been in Dr. Dan's corner. I haven't wrestled in a while, but I still want to wrestle and maybe get that chance at another gauntlet number and stuff like that because I'm not finished with the 30 pounds and everything. There's going to be a new Razor Sharp out there coming.
That's awesome. And I got to ask because I'm sure everyone wants to know, what's the pink drink?
I'm part of it. It's called Plexus, and basically it helps with my hunger and my energy, and I take it every morning when I go work out and everything.
And it works. Yeah, you give it the seal of approval.
Oh yeah, I give it the seal of approval because I tell everybody right now, like energy drinks, I just drink them, and I actually calm down on the energy drinks. Like I can actually crank out energy drink and sip it and go to sleep. This stuff, I could power through. I could power through a training session. No questions asked.
And do you sell it, or how do people get it?
Yeah. If you wanna reach me out, I can sell it to them. And basically, it's there's a couple all their stuff for digestive and everything, but I use the pink drink. And actually, there's stuff I do. There's a milkshake I do in the morning for breakfast. It's basically it helps you with a meal. So I do that in the morning. And then when I train, I do the pink drink and everything. So it helps a lot. I contribute a lot of that with my weight loss.
That's awesome. So I'll probably have you back on again. This is just kind of a quick little, razor sharp origin story, so to speak. But this is Patreon exclusive, at least for now. What do you have social media plugs? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I pretty much have everything. I know I'm Twitter, Razor Sharp 21, Facebook, believe it's Razor Sharp 21 or UXWA Entertainment, and then I think Instagram's basically Razor Sharp 21.
Awesome. All right. So that's it for the first installment of the Razor Sharp Patreon podcast. Maybe we'll make it a series. Maybe I'll get some questions from people and we can do like a Q&A or something down the road if that's what people are interested in. And you know, I just wanted to thank you. You know, uh, every time we've come out with a new piece of merchandise or something, you're the first person to buy it. You know, during quarantine, like you said, you are working and you are spreading the love of still working to as many people as you can. And I certainly appreciate it, as does everybody, you know, in the AIW family, because as everybody knows, that money goes towards AIW always. So,
Oh
um,
yeah.
you know, you're very, it's very appreciative. You know, people can't see you, but you got your new black on black snapback on right now.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I just wanted to thank you. And, you know, that'll do it for this special Patreon podcast with Razor Sharp. Any final words?
No, hey, John, I appreciate everything too. You guys have been nothing but open arm, lovable, and like I said, same thing, man. You guys need anything, I'm there for you. Like I said, as long as you got like 3X shirts, I'll be buying them.
All right, man. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, bud.